Alright, hi everybody, I'm Sam.
And I'm Nate.
And we're going to get back to work again. Again, this is fall in Phoenix, which means absolutely nothing because it's still been 100+ degrees for the last couple weeks. We had one weekend of nice weather that says, ha ha ha, fall's coming here, and then it said, no, I'm not, bye. We're only 98 degrees today.
Yeah, better.
Next week's actually supposed to be in the 70s, so that'll be really nice. But anyway, goal for today is to get these parking brake calipers hooked up, re-welded on. We've got both parking brake cables in place.
And then we won't need a parking rock.
Nathan has already gone through and restored it and painted his handle. Cleaned that up, painted that nice red because red is stop and he wanted that to be red. So he did all that. That's all back to normal. Now we're going to jack up the back end of this car, pull off the rotors, pull off the drums, pull off the bearing caps, put in the spacers that I actually have cut down now, and get all that stuff mocked up before we attach the calipers again for the final time, maybe final mock-up time, and then we'll weld the tabs on and get all that stuff set. So that's what we're going to do today.
Yeah.
So this is our original caliper bracket, what's remaining of it, cut down to shape. And now that will sit over that. You can see this is where the original eyelet for the parking brake caliper cable would have hooked into. That's out of the way, so now that can sit on top of that. That doesn't hit there. And eventually this will run through there, hook up to that, and then that will pull our caliper, our parking brake down to hold our caliper in place. So now I just need to come up with a bracket for this hole back down here. And then make another one for that side, and then we can work on getting an eyelet to hold this in place on the trailing arm.
And then hopefully everything except for the shocks should be good back here.
Yep. There. Hang out like that then. Now, let's get some cardboard aided design.
There's some liquid in there.
Yep.
Probably
Brake fluid?
Go figures. Brakes have brake fluid. Ooh, so like that. Here. Something like that would probably work.
Alright, if you're working on that, I guess we're going to flatten this at least.
Almost perfectly. Yeah, this works. Something sort of similar to that.
Alright, that was. Yeah, that gets me in the ballpark. So let's take that. Yeah, that might do. Something like that. Let me grab that other tab out of there. Because if I'm cutting one, I might as well cut two. We've got our parking brake working. I've got this bolt is cut down to a 15mm head, and I just shortened it about 1/4 inch or so I can put it in behind that. So now we've got a parking brake equipped 3x3 trailing arm. I'm okay with that. Nate, do me a favor. Come hit that parking brake, buddy. Yeah, buddy.
Yay, parking brake.
All right, hold on. Let me switch this view. So, all right, hit it. There we go. Hit it. That's not ideal. Having to use a wrench to barely get that bolt in place there. With that bracket in place. But yeah, now everything we did here we got to do on that side. But hey, we already know it works, so that's one step in the right direction. And hit the parking brake.
And then it
That will do.
yeah.
Now I've got to make another custom bolt, shorten it, and turn it into a 15mm head. And everything else is made for the other side, brackets, tabs, and whatnots.
Well, at least we got the brakes and the parking brake. Let's go all the way down on this to see where it's sitting. A little bit of camber. And it's also still sitting higher than a stock boat.
Rolling, rolling, rolling. This buggy is rolling.
Hopefully, sometime this year we'll drive it again.
I see something that maybe we can do. Box in that nose cone. This is actually open from here all the way up to here. So I'm going to weld that seam up. That'll just give us some extra support in this tunnel. I'm going to weld that in place there to start boxing in this mount. And I'll do the same thing on the bottom side later. I'm going to weld up this little seam right here that I had cut up earlier when we cut the stock mount out. And I'm going to weld that seam up that I had cut when I was moving our accelerator cable tube and our clutch cable tube. Yeah, that, and that. Get all those welded up. And then that's the majority of the stuff here. Honestly, I don't think I'm going to have to actually box this in here. All this strength transfers back to here. And I'm obviously going to have our rear subframe back here for our shock towers. So boxing that in where I've cut over for our AC lines, I don't think is a big deal. Time will tell, of course, but for now, we're going to let it be. I'm going to do some welding. Here we go. That's welded up, that's welded up, that's welded up, that's welded up. I'd already gone through, welded up the seams here and there. Looking pretty good. Alright, air conditioning lines. But now I need to create a bend in this guy that gets it.
Hopefully this will work good.
Well, I'm sure it will. Hopefully I can get this line bent properly.
Hard line, no. It's pretty hard. I think they're right.
You guys are correct. That line is hard.
So, are we going to have hard lines at the engine or just soft lines?
Soft lines, probably.
Didn't look as cool, but oh well.
Hard lines?
I don't know, I mean.
We can try. Alright, so I want to do more along the lines of that one. Here goes nothing.
For everything. Big RC car, another big RC car, and then super miniature RC car with this video. Oh, this is
Been super nice.
And six.
now that I've got my air conditioning lines in place, I've got a little hole test drilled there. Everything's in place. In the back, in the tunnel, junction here. The other junction is just back here. Everything up here is in place, bolted in, bolted in. I wonder, with that back cross member in place, I wonder if I can actually get these guys out with that hole drilled the way I have it. So let's find out. Figure we'll start with the small one. Obviously, it's much easier with the body not in the way, but is it feasible? This is the big question here is that's out, and I need to make that hole a little bit bigger. But if it was bigger, it would be possible. I got all the way up to there. Let's open this up a little bit more. There we go. We are good to go, so I can weld this piece back in place, and we can still get all of our lines and connections in place all the way up to there. So yeah, and operating parking brake with 3x3 control arms. That's pretty darn slick. I had to custom make 15mm heads because the 17 wouldn't clear this trailing arm, and then I had to shorten this bolt because that tab for the parking brake caliper comes in right in line with that. I had to shorten the bolt because otherwise it would just back into this, and I can't use an Allen bolt because obviously I can't get an Allen head in right there because this is in line. Just a whole bunch of fun, but we're there. And we're there. So we've got a pretty
decent setup.
Decent amount of work done today. There was a lot of cutting and grinding and customization to customize bolt heads and bolt lengths and bolt tabs and brackets and
everything. And
more brackets and clearance the calipers. But in the end of the day, we've got parking brake cables.
Yeah.
On 3x3 trailing arms.
And it doesn't roll.
No rocky rolly.
Yeah.
I've got our rear body support in place, our air conditioning lines. They are hooked up front, hooked up in back. I have this taped in place just to make certain that through the new hole that I drilled, I can get the lines in and out smoothly, and I can. So next step is to go through and patch up the couple extra holes in this from when I relocated and moved the accelerator cable and clutch cable tube over.
We tested paint on the...
Yeah, we picked out a paint color for the suspension.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, I think we'll go a little bit darker than that for the chassis.
And then that
and then
color,
that color
for...
on all the suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any moving things are going to be that color.
Any moving stuff's that color. And then orange for the bug. Hammered silver for the bumpers. Give it a little sparkles. Alright. Quick update for today. I got a cap made for this. Just screwed in place temporarily. Actually, this one, since we're not actually going to have to get in there a whole lot, I'll probably just leave these sheet metal screws in place. On the back side here, I've got our rear mount cross brace. Got a new piece of sheet metal patched in there. If it was a piece of body metal, I'd actually care about finishing it better, but this will just be up underneath in front of the transmission. And I got all that in place. That's ready to go. Maybe during the week Nathan can work on painting inside the tunnel, getting all of that core sealed up. If he's looking for something to do, he can do that. In the meantime, Nathan, what are you doing?
Working on the car.
Working on, not the bug. Up here, I want to put 2 more nut certs in place, but I ran out since I've used them all at work. But I've got a plate made. It'll be 6 screws holding this in place. That'll be access for our AC lines and our clutch cable when the occasion calls for replacing that or installing that. From here, Nathan, you just got to core seal inside this tunnel, and then we can start working on putting these pans in place. Other than that, I'm still waiting for my welder, not that welder, but my new welder to be coming in so that I can TIG that and that, and those in place. I want to do those with TIG instead of a MIG. Just looks a whole lot cleaner, even though I don't have much experience with it. I'll try and figure it out. Need to get the suspension subframe in. Oh, I got our spring plates marked, so I know where to cut them so that I get more travel, because we want all the travel. All right, looks like Nathan's been busy at work on our chassis. We can still do a little bit more up there on the core seal, but all in all, did a pretty good job getting everything sealed up with the wonderful rust converter core seal. Pretty much like anything else, all it does is convert rust to black oxide or something like that. But anyway, I like it as a nice, for lack of a better term, a primer and a rust converter to get rid of that rust. Well, I've been out in California getting the 62-23 window. Nathan's been working on this.
So hopefully at least by the end of the year, the chassis should be done.
Hopefully the chassis will be done.
Yeah.
And then it's full steam ahead on trying to get that body back, or get the body work done, get some paint done, and try to find some orange.
Yeah.
Orange tractor paint.
So basically like, what's that one brand again that has the orange tractors?
Kubota.
Yeah.
Kubota orange? Yeah.
Maybe that.
Kubota orange Baja bug. Yeah. Alright, so on that note, I'm Sam.
And I'm Nate.
And life's full of good people.
If you can't find one,
Be one. Later, guys.